Welcome to a brand new season of the Chick Chat, the show that brings you the very best of real and raw conversations with some of South Africa's most influential women. We'll be talking all things life, love, work, and everything in between. We are shooting this particular episode at Lazy Lion Lodge in Kyalami. If you are looking for an awesome stay in and around Kyalami, please do hit them up on their social media platforms. On this episode of the Chick Chat, I will be in conversation with one of South Africa's most passionate artist activists. You might remember her as the feisty Eshe from Keeping Score, the flashy Ivy Ella from Single Girls, or even as Lydia Twala from How to Ruin Christmas, The Wedding. Welcome to the Chick Chat. I've been wanting you to be here.
Really?
I'm not even lying. You must ask the crew. I've been raving about you.
Thank you so much.
So excited to have you here.
Thank you.
I want us to... No, wait. Before we go there, I'm quite disappointed, guys. I wore this dress because I feel like she's very in touch with her blackness and Africanness. How? Also, oh, guys, keep us as a black. Or maybe that's for black. Hey. I want us to go back to your genesis. What is a Motswana girl doing in KZN? How did you move there?
Oh, wow. That is such an important question. So my father is typical Tswana man. Had a very beautiful and colorful history in terms of where he comes from. Ran from Sophia Town, went to Durban, and then met a Zulu woman, amongst others, obviously, naturally. And that's how I found myself in KZN. And yeah.
Oh, and Lee 21 kochen.
See. Wow, you said, okay, Swankie, I've been waiting for her and Kitomu for the questions.
Yeah, no, yeah, I prepared this.
Yeah, we are 21 kohai that I know of. But my siblings are probably the most important part of my being. I won't even lie. When I look at my identity, I see them behind me. So yeah, 21. I know we've got some twins go Portugal. I know we've got some people go Kai. But when I speak about the people that I know, I speak about the 21 that are in my close vicinity.
And you guys grew up in the same household?
That is a very important question. So we didn't. We did, but we didn't. My dad had a rule where, and thank God for that, where he was like, all my children at least twice a year are going to shangana. So if it wasn't Christmas, it was Easter. If it wasn't Easter, it was, something. But we were always in the same house at some point. I think there was about 10, 12, 15 of us at the house in the time. Yeah.
And I want to know, this is quite a personal question. Was it from a polygamous home, or is it that thing ya gore papa o utlwane le mme ona a tloga mona aya kwale or kaofela lona ne le tseba gore oh mama okay we in the same sort of vicinity?
Yeah, that's that. Thanks for that question, because you're the first person to ever ask me this. To break it down, right? Our mothers all know each other. We all know our mothers. So if I don't go to my house, I go to Lentwi's house, who's my brother. I go to Peletia's house, who's my sister. And when I get there, I say, ki mama Peletia, ki mama Lentwi. We kind of vibe. So in the way in which dad made it sort of work for us, we were told that these are your mothers. This is the polygamous situation, although polygamy is very hard to understand when you're young. So he kind of broke it down in his actions. Entering a house, give mama how. Going to space, give mama how. And if I were to bump into your mom, let's say hypothetically you and my sister, at the mall, your mom's my mom. I won't run to my mother, I'll run to your mom. Hey mama, how are you? So I think in the sense of breaking down the question, like whether or not it was a polygamous home, it was, in the sense that we were taught that, but not necessarily by like words. We were taught that by actions. I know polygamy from what I understand. I don't know anything else in terms of relationships and parenting and all of that stuff. So yeah,
I find it interesting that you had a lot of mothers. For I know with many kids from polygamous families, they complain that segregation. There's that whole thing bana baba special, meo special, and I just think I love the fact that your dad introduced you to different mothers. There was some sort of unity, in terms of parenthood. Or am I getting it wrong?
No, you're right. Actually, you're right in the sense that, listen, a polygamy, and I don't want to get like all the way into it. But a polygamous setup in a family isn't the most ideal. So we do have hore sometimes mewa, swankie also mewa peletia. But it's all about the person who's initiating the polygamy to make sure that it's done right. And I think with my father, I can't necessarily say that it was done right because we've got. But the one thing that I can say is that family's instilled, understanding of mothers is instilled, and the respect is instilled. If there's no respect in a polygamous household, then there's nothing. You might as well not even be in a polygamous setup. So for me, even now, I mean, our father has passed. But the one thing I can say is that, like, my sister used to live with me. I go to my brother's mother's house when I feel like I need a break from Joburg. So in that sense, I think, it's weird for me, right? I find myself not having the words to speak about this because it's the first time I'm being genuinely asked about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to the team. Yo. We did this.
No, genuinely, because I angazi ngizothini. Angazi ngizothini because I myself, in my old age, almost 30, I'm not going to say my age, but I heard something, but I'm not going to respond. In my age, I feel like I haven't quite found the vocabulary to express or to even define what my setup or my historical sort of background is. And that's weird and that's scary because
yeah. I think it's also because with most of your interviews, whether it's on radio, whether it's on TV or newspapers, I think we're mostly interested in your work. So I wanted to kind of know the human,
That's great.
the person,
Thank
and not
you.
necessarily Swankie Mafoko go how to ruin the Christmas. How to ruin Christmas. Yay! English is not coming. I still want us to speak about when you were still young, in I think 2004.
Wow.
You wrote a poem.
I did.
The moon is a banana.
Oh, I did.
Do you know how much I looked for that poem on the internet? I couldn't find it. I wanted to recite it
Why
for you.
were you stalking me? That's the question.
And in 2007, you won it's a Durban Municipality Storytelling Awards.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but you won that. And both times you said you were sure that you wanted to be an actress. What made you so sure when you were still that young that you want to end up being an actress?
Wow. So, wow. Actually, I'm not really sure. Sometimes in life, we make decisions about ourselves. Like, you'll be like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a guitaring lawnmower. And adults, and I think it's something so specific because we're going to go and journey on to be parents, right? Adults have this thing where they're like, hey, wena, And my mom was like, oh, okay, you want to be an actress? Okay, cool.
That's nice.
Right? So I started going to poetry festivals and competitions. I went to speech and drama, and that's when the poem, Yeah, Moon is Like a Banana came from.
Did you write it yourself?
No, I think I found it from somewhere in like a children's book.
Oh, okay. That's why I couldn't find it on the internet. So I was so disappointed. I wanted to hit you with it. This line, 2004. That's what I wanted to do. But anyway.
Wow, you were coming for me. But the thing is that, like, I remember it said, the moon is like a banana without any skin. And I remember saying, I can't remember much, but I remember the conviction. I was like, yo, the moon is like a banana without any skin. And saying those lines and memorizing them and coming back to perform them for me was like reality. And that's when I knew I was like, okay, cool. I want to be an actress. And I made a decision. When I won the competition, I was like, okay, cool. It was the eThekwini municipality. And I was like, my dad doesn't support this. My dad I understand the acting. But I was like, me, as for Swankie Mafoko, I'm going to leave this house and I'm going to become an actress. And I think that's where the surety of my career came from. It's weird now because I found that article. So I got featured in something called the Berea Mail. Hey. I said, I'm going to study at Wits.
Yes, I saw that.
I'm going to be an actress. And each and every single thing that I named happened.
Sure.
And
That's
it's just
so
about
powerful.
it's about surety. It's about making a decision about your life when you're young and then being like, hey, cool, this is what I'm going to do. And not having to listen to, sorry, parents. Sorry, parents. Not having to listen necessarily to what our parents have to say about our destinies, but believing so much in what you believe about yourself that you're like, okay, actress, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of leaving and parents, hey, this girl, she packed her bags. She's going to pursue acting. Where did this bravery come from? What was going on in your head at that time?
So, hey, what's about generations?
Yay, Katie.
Do.
Yay.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So I grew up in that generation, and Angela on the show, who was Dao's daughter, went to the National School of the Arts.
Yes.
And I kept saying to my mom, Mama, I'm going to go to the school. I don't know what it is. I don't know who it's for, but it's for me. And then in grade 7, I applied. I gave all my certificates in terms of Swankie is the best actress, grade 6. And I was like, Kopa Pesar. Didn't work out for a reason. Then I wrote my dad a letter. Because if you've got a polygamous father, one thing you must understand is that, like, how no fitla fellow reo shone, yeah. You have a plan. So I've learned from a young age to have a plan. I wrote a plan. I was like, Papa, dear Ntate Mafoko, this is your daughter, Swankie Mafoko. I'm writing this letter because you've taught me as a Mafoko to always be confident about myself and to always know what I want. Then I went in. Had a border, what's about where 2007 nearly border. Come just said, okay, I'm gonna go. You know? And for me, the letter was I think the initiation of the bursary thing was the one thing that was like, okay, cool, you're gonna go. And you wanna go to the school. But writing a letter to your parents and pleading your case
Sure.
at grade 7, you must know what you want. You know? So when I did leave Durban, I told all my friends, I was like, guys, get your bag. I'm going to go act. They were like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to go act. And it didn't work out in 2007. Was it? I don't want to reveal my age. It was 2007. 2008.
In the 2000s.
But in 2010, my mom got a job in Johannesburg. And she was like, let's take you to a school. And I said, the only school I'm going to go to is the National School of the Arts. Because what I want to be is an artist. And that's how I found myself here. And I applied at some school, I think it's called Midstream. They had like visual arts. I can't draw for nothing. I don't even know how to pick up a pen. I'm like, no. When the National School of the Arts had my audition, I woke up that morning. I will never forget. It was August, I think it might have been August the 23rd. I got my reply letter on 3 days after my birthday, September the 14th. And I woke up, I was like, Mama, I'm going to kill this. And 2 minutes into my audition, they said, stop. I was like, why? Did I do something wrong? What happened? And they were like, it's okay. So when you make a decision about yourself, like with me in particular, I made sure that my dad said no to the letter. It took 2 years for me, by the way, to come to Joburg. So between the time that I wrote the letter and the time that I came here was 2 years. I still had a plan. And when you're sure about what you want to be, I was like, okay, cool, sharp. My grades were like 92%, 87. I don't think I had anything under 70 because I was sure that to get into the school, this is what I need. And when they stopped me in my audition, I was like, okay, cool, right. It's a bit of a mess up. I think I did badly. And then a few days after my birthday, they called me. And that's how I found myself in Joburg.
I'm listening to you, right? And I'm just thinking about, I'm listening to you simultaneously thinking about my own life, you know, and about how perhaps sometimes for most of us, the only thing we need to do is to be sure about where we want to go. Because it's amazing how I would like to believe God planted that seed in you know, that dream to go to NSA, to go to WITS, to be an actress, you know, to serve a bigger purpose, you know, and it's just mind-blowing how everything was planned and it came to pass.
Yeah. You know, it's so nice. Like you touched on something. And I think a lot of us are very scared to like touch on religion per se. I'll delve in and delve out. But the one thing that I liked that you just said was like, God planted that. It was always part of the plan. If anything else, I don't see what I don't know what the other plan would be. You know, all my life I've known this plan. I've worked towards this plan. I've had like a desire towards this plan. So if you were to sit down and say to me, Swankie, what else would you be? I can't say a lawyer. I can't say a teacher, although I am a teacher. Because when God plants something in your life, it's bound to sort of take place, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And fast forward, WITS University. You also spoke it into existence. feel like she speaks everything into existence. Please speak my life into existence.
I
Just say I'm
received
gonna be-
that. Go send me your prayer requests.
I will definitely. I thought hard about this question, right? And we both studied drama, and we know that drama literally, especially acting, is literally playing. You know, and you speak very passionately about training in one of these interviews, getting training for the craft. And just out of curiosity, why do you think it's important for people to study play?
Are you trying to set me up?
No,
I'm asking for a friend. I'm not even asking for me.
definitely not do that.
Why do I think... Okay. We're in the time of COVID, right? Why do we believe that it's important to have doctors that are qualified? You know, I don't underplay what I studied. I didn't go to sleep and wake up with a degree or an honors. I worked for it.
Yeah,
I had my honors while I was shooting 12 hours a day.
sure.
You know what I mean? And the people on set with me wouldn't know I was shooting a show called Keeping Score. I was in between set at Wits, set on Wits. That's work. So why do I feel like it's important to be trained? Because it's a job. It's a professional career. You know what I mean? And I don't want to get very emotional about it, because then I might just express some things that I don't know, you know, you might not have asked me, you know.
You
per
can.
se.
You know, I don't
Right. But my thing is, if it's a job, it's a job. Let's be qualified for it,
Yeah.
and let's understand what goes to it.
Yeah.
When I get to set and I encounter someone that literally, if we're crying, hey, chief, hey, that's not, we're not crying from the lollipop that we sucked yesterday. We're crying from emotions that we understand. We have to dig deep within ourselves to try and like attack those things. That's work. I need to go back home and debrief. South Africa doesn't have enough money for me to see a therapist. I need to know what it's like to be a qualified actor, to go and debrief on my own. That's work. The same way a doctor comes up and says, Swankie, what's wrong? Okay, great, COVID. You know what I mean? So I'm passionate about it because I think acting needs to be seen as the professional degree and work that it is. Because then we'll just keep making skits.
Yeah.
And then we'll just keep employing people that don't understand, that go home and they're broken, first of all, because, I mean, playing the character I just played right now, and I think we're going to get into it. I don't have a child. I've never been pregnant. I've never been married. But at some point in my life, I need to draw from my experiences or from something that I know to go and play that. That requires work and therapy and kindness. And if I'm not qualified for it, I'll miss it. You know? So I do think that the line of work, and I'm so glad that you said you also study drama, because then you can understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I do. Absolutely.
It requires a kind of level of intellectual thing that I don't even think lawyers require. And I might be dragged for that, but that's okay. I'm willing to die in that cross.
Yeah.
I'm willing to die in that cross.
You're so passionate about this.
I am.
She's your face light up.
I'm sorry.
Started speaking about acting. You're
It's
so
what
passionate.
I do.
You love it so much.
Yeah.
Fast forward to Wits, where you studied your king, I suppose, undergrad. Ne?
Yeah.
Undergrad. Ke batla go bua ka Fees Must Fall. You know, I've been looking for this image ya gago. I saw it during the Fees Must Fall trending. I remember it was on Twitter or something, but I could not find it again.
That's, you know what's weird about that? I've never seen that image.
Really?
No.
You had noticed Kangapende or something?
Yeah. Wow. You know that?
Yes.
It was not on the net, for me, at least, because, wow. I was in a time where I was doing stuff for blackness, man. And if you ever want to know what I'm passionate about black people.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm passionate about black people or women first. Tricky. I'm passionate about black women first, then I'm passionate about black people after that. And that's what I was doing it for. You know what I mean? And during the time, we were in such a hectic space. You know, we in this getting into Wits. Let me start there. I applied at one university. Gifate-ish, mama skisne. Gifate grade 11. I think I got 37% for drama, 23% for maths, you know. But in that, again, speaking into existence, I was like, there's one place I'm going to go, and it's Wits. Why am I going to do that? Because it's in Joburg, and I want to act. So getting into Wits for me was like a whoa. When I got in, I got there 5 distinctions in 2 Bs, nothing under that. You know what I mean? So get into the space and you realize, oh wow, I'm here now. Then what? Okay, I'm black. It hurts. And there's nothing in the space that makes me feel comfortable. Cool. Fees must fall comes. I remember I was like, I laughed at the people. I was like, ooh, that's not passionate, you know. Until I had to go look at my own work, I was like, how do we speak about art without decolonizing it? How do I create art?
Yeah.
You know, how do I create art from a genuine perspective that represents me? Then I started like looking into those things. Then a friend of mine, Zugo Zigalala, my gosh, what an amazing writer. He writes for queer bodies. He writes for black people. He writes for himself. That's what happens when you passionate. You know what it is again. So we linked up and we were friends. And then we started creating art around that space. We were like, okay, cool. So what does it look like to be a black body covered in white skin because of the space that we're in? We stood on the Great Hall stairs, which is the most iconic place for Wits. And we just painted ourselves white. And I remember that morning when I woke up, it was so impromptu. We didn't plan it. We were like, this is what we're going to do. Cool. The next day we're doing it. Got into the list, started singing struggle songs. So it started from like the lifts that come from the other side of it. Then we got to the Great Hall stairs and we started painting ourselves white.
Sure.
And for me, that was like, I was like meditating. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. And then we started washing it off.
Sure.
We started washing it off. And that's why you'll see a lot of him. The reason why you'll see a lot of him, because I walked around with a bucket of water like, don't you want to wash yourself? Don't you want to cleanse yourself? And that's where it began. And then I got approached by actually the Wits School of Governance. How's that for a joke? A great joke. A great joke. But they approached me and they asked me to write a chapter on decolonizing art. And that's when I started to be like, okay, cool. Let's publish some work. Let's take the feelings and let's bring them into literature.
Before we go to literature, you were shooting Keeping Score during Peace Must Fall.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, this is the South African television industry, and I find it quite interesting that at that time you were shooting for a show that's on primetime television, and you know how they are very pedantic about what you do outside, you know, their image, PR, and all of that. And were you not scared? Or you might lose a job because, you know, you're like too rowdy, as they say we are.
Great. You know what? Actually, great question. Because I didn't really care at the time what SABC had to say about what my beliefs were. At the point, I was I was like, how old was I? 20? I don't know how old I was. But I was that age. You know, 2021. I was not more than 22. I can tell you that for sure. And for me, my beliefs are my beliefs. And if you're going to employ me, then you employ me for my beliefs. And so with the station, I don't think I had the etiquette or like I don't think I had the training per se to have an understanding of what the channel might need from me. You know, but I also knew that like the work that I do around outside of what I do for them influences like, you know, the kind of impact that, you know. So I kind of just went head in. I went head in, and you know what? That was nice. I met this lady called Nozipho Nkelemba.
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah, Richard Lukunku's partner, director of Gomora.
Now I know where I know her from.
My gosh, casting director for Muvango previously, and just playing out an amazing woman. And she was like to me, Swankie, I see you. Fire. She kept saying, "Hey, wait na, nabambita, grasta, you know, fire." And I was like, "That's great, because that's what I am, blackness all the way." And then she was like, "We see you and we support you. Just make sure that you can come to work."
Yeah.
And for me, her support was all I needed. What the rest of the channel said at SAPC, I was not involved with that. I was like, I rest, guys. Yeah, you know. So that's how I approached that. And that's how I think I maneuvered my way out of it. Because even while I was shooting Keeping Score, I was playing a lesbian character, but my activism as well sort of infiltrated in that. First of all, I was the first storyline on SAPC 2 that had a lesbian character.
That's nice.
And that fully saw it. So when they told me, then they approached me with that, I was like, I'm all for queer rights. I'm all for anything that represents people that feel like they're marginalized.
Yeah.
Let's go. So when she came to me with that, I was like, okay, cool. This is what I'm doing. And sort of like my work kind of found, it all kind of found each other. And I guess I've had the privilege of that. Till this day.
And I think a lot of us don't know that you actually failed your honors year.
Yeah.
All these things that you were doing, you were
Expose me.
sorry, but like, you know, this is how deep we go with this research thing. You know what I mean?
Call me out.
Yeah, but you were doing a lot of things.
I was, you know, and I can proudly say that because, you know, hey, I'm not even going to speak about like people that I see from far. I'm going to speak of people around me. We all get to varsity thinking that we're all going to make it out, and sometimes we don't. And sometimes we feel like the 4 years that they gave us to do the honors or the postgrad or the bachelor's is what we're going to make. No. We've got financial issues. We've got work issues. My father passed away while I was still doing my undergrad. I then had to pick up my fees. You know what I mean? Then I'm on a girl gotta work. So if the varsity comes to me and says, Swankie, you can't work because you're at Wits, I'm like, are you gonna pay my fees? You know? So I can proudly say, yeah, I failed my honors year. And I failed it because I was working on radio. At the time, I was, my gosh, trying to write a book. I was shooting 12 hours a day. And then, of course, we all know how Wits is. They need all my time. So I'm skipping class and lying about being sick when I know I'm with people on set that are shooting me and they can see what this girl is working. And I get home, you know. So I think with that, yeah, it did happen. A lot of people don't know that about me. That I did fail my honors year the first time. And you know, it's a funny thing. I watched my counterparts who are also in the industry right now. Candice Modiselle is one. I mean, I've got a lot of friends that we all were in the same year. And at the point, they graduated before me. And that hurt. My God, that hurt. To know that I was on primetime television, but yet I could not graduate from a university that I was bragging about, that hurt. You know, even speaking about it now, I'm like, whoa, it's the first time I'm talking about it. I'm like, whoa, that hurt. It did. But we move. Because you know what? As human beings in South Africa and as black people in the world, we need to move.
Yeah.
And that's what I told myself. I was like, yeah, we need to move.
But it's also you failing a year and getting on primetime television and being nominated for a Liberty Radio Award. That's, I don't know, like you passed in so many ways for me that year, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think it was because you were dumb or you were not understanding what was going on. I think it's because you really were just like doing so many things at the same time.
Yeah.
And obviously when you are doing so many things at the same time, one must fall.
Hey,
one must fall.
Fees had to fall. One must fall also.
Speaking of fees falling, you said in an interview that I was listening to about you that it's very important for fallists and artists to debrief.
Yeah.
And I want to know, why is it important and how do you debrief?
Wow. You know what? I think I've said wow a lot. Hey.
I hope it's a nice wow. Like
no, it's a good wow. I'm very conscious of myself. Why is it important to debrief? Okay, we must debrief because, wow. Before I get into that, right? I think I always, and I don't know why I find the need. I always find the need to sort of want to apologize for the intricacies that are connected to blackness. I don't know why, because I just feel like, hey, so first of all, if I do get too deep, because that's where I come from. That's what I know, that's what I love, that's what I'm passionate about. Why must we debrief? Because this thing is hard. And I feel like with the first generation, yes, our parents went through apartheid and all of that, but we're the first conscious generation to be very aware of ourselves and to be very vocal about how we feel about our identity. Our parents were like, hey, okay, all right, so the Boers are coming with the apartheid, we're gonna run. Great.
Yeah.
We're like, no, we're gonna run, but I'm also gonna stand here and I'm gonna feel what it feels like to be here. So why must we debrief? Because it hurts. Yeah, so I mean, it generally hurts. And I think with the idea of blackness, that for me was the reason why I kept saying we need to debrief. We need to, you know what, actually, besides even debriefing as black people, we need to debrief as a nation.
True.
We need to debrief as people. We need to debrief as human beings that are existing within the country. You know what I mean? And for me, it's because, and that's why I didn't particularly major in performance. I went and I majored in something called applied drama and theater. So what that's about is using skills that I have in the dramatic models that I've been taught. And then going back into communities to sort of like create work that helps in that sense. You know what I mean? So something called playback theater helps. You get to watch yourself. I don't know if you've encountered the term playback theater. You get to watch yourself.
Yeah.
And there's, you know what I mean?
Yo, guys, we are so sorry for this noise that's happening outside. Somebody's sabotaging us, but we shall continue with this interview. I want to speak about Fees Must Fall again, but the literature part of it. You have a book that I looked for everywhere, guys. I just didn't have money to go to Hyde Park, but I looked for that book on the internet because I wanted a PDF of it, version of it, just to read it and then, see what it was about. And I want you to take me through the process of writing that book.
I can't put that to myself. The Wits School of Governance came and approached me. But more than that, I don't think I wrote it alone. Which is why, City Press and a lot of people want to do interviews with me. And if you notice on the net, I haven't done an interview about it. I speak about it. I haven't done an interview because I don't feel like it's mine to own.
Ah, I see.
It's not my book. It's not my Fees Must Fall. It's not my blackness. It's not my, you know what I mean? So, my friend, as again, I'll reference him, Zugo Zigalala, shout out to him. What a gent. He created the work with me. And in creating the work with me, helped me write it. And when someone is so selfless in the sense that they can be like, write this, your name's on it. But you know what, Swankie? I was doing it with you. So, in the writing process, because I was not necessarily strong, or I didn't feel confident in my academic writing, I did consult a lot of people. And I've got the likes of Refile Lepere. There's some people the people on this chapter, this one about decolonizing art in particular. And they are like greats. They've got their masters at NYU. They've got their stuff. They're teaching. They're supervisors for masters. So I had to literally go back to the people that are in my community to go and help me so that I can write it. So I can't necessarily speak back about that. It's the one thing that I just can't speak back about.
Again, I find this very interesting. Your answer is quite interesting because there's been a conversation about who does the movement belong to.
That's great. Yeah.
During these protests, who came up with it? Who should take the glory for it? Who's the face for it? And here you are, a black woman that I'm dead sure put in so much work into it, and you're still saying, I'm not alone in this. It was a collaborative process.
Yeah.
And kudos to you for that.
Thanks.
Because I do feel like sometimes when we go on wars for our blackness, sometimes we want the credit. Sometimes you want to sit in the glory when you know that it's impossible to be part of a movement alone. It's impossible to do it on your own. And I love that you say that. Nah, Nikisi one.
And I don't want to. I don't want to be the face of anything. I would like to be part of a revolution. Oh my Lord. If it happens while I'm still alive, yes. But I don't want to be the face for it. I don't want to get money for it. And I think that's why when I said, you asked me something earlier and I can't really quite tap into it, but she said, and my answer was that it was so depressing that I had to leave. I left. When the people were like, hey, we Fees Must Falling again, I was like, count me out.
Same. I didn't do the second time.
Because it's depressing.
It is.
And it's sad. You know what I mean? And also you don't want to, you in this life, you're living it. You know what I mean? You don't want to always be contemplating your existence in it. You can't just be like every day, oh guys, being black is so hard, guys.
Yeah.
Being broke is so hard, guys. That alone puts you at a negative. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be the face of anything. I don't want to be the lead of anything. But what I will tell you is that I do want to be part of something. And if it's part of it while I'm still alive, then hell yeah. Let's go off.
And you were part of the Liberty Radio Awards. You were nominated. I was. While you were in school, this girl, I feel like God was just showing off. In your honors, your God was just like, why is the king? Sure, that's a big achievement, and for you to get it while in varsity.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
I didn't believe, hey, why 50 Shades of Grey?
By the way, I've never watched it. Why is the crew laughing?
The fact that you had to even give a disclaimer means that, girl, you watched it. You
I
are.
think a good girl and like you
Nna ke shebile girl and a ka sheba I one. Ke shebile over. Ke batla ho studisha. I just, sometimes in life you must.
Let's go. You must what?
You must be in the.
Hey.
So I did that, and then I started again back to what I'm passionate about. Black people. I'm so sorry if I keep saying this
No, don't
over
worry
and
about it.
over. Black people. So I was like, okay, cool. So BDSM thing, right? 50 Shades thing, and that's leading now to the Liberty Radio Award. So I went and I literally I had a look. So leading to the Liberty Radio Award, I had a look. I was like, okay, cool. 50 Shades of Grey, sharp, great. We're the black people because we've been living long in this life. You know what I mean? So we must have been doing these things. And then I went to, come on.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because someone's laughing.
Come on. There's no way that we didn't count these things. So I went and I searched out for people in different communities in South Africa that were living this lifestyle. And then I created a radio package about that.
Yeah.
And then that's how I got nominated. And for me, it was just a stamp on the fact that I can tell the stories that I want to tell. And I was nominated against Tunisia Phillips, who was at the time working at Kaya FM. She's like been in the game for 20 years. Other people, I was the only campus radio person in the list. But I prayed for it and I asked for it. And also, funny enough, when I submitted that tape, I was like, I know that I'm going to get this. So going back to our first point about putting stuff in the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's the weird thing. Now that I'm telling you this, I feel like I need to go back to my personal space and go revisit that. Yeah. I feel like I need to start putting out more stuff because if I can speak so confidently about the stuff that I've put out and I've achieved, then clearly for my future, my future's great then.
It is. But I also like that, just in case there are kids who are going to watch this interview, I like that you put it out there, write it down, say it, and you work towards it. Because I don't want the young ones watching this and thinking, well, I can just put it out there and chill. You know, we work. Yeah.
We gotta work all the time.
And there's a very important woman that played a very important role in your life. Usis Koli. I don't know how to pronounce her surname. Matumela. Yes. What role did she play in your life, especially in the radio space?
Wow. I don't think she played a role in the radio space. No. Yeah. Great question. Are we ending here?
No.
I'm joking.
You don't want to cry?
Because I'm just like, man, sometimes you meet some people and you're just like, I don't know. You meet people that support you meet people that got your back. And Chloe met me as a young 19, 20-year-old and she was like, I've got you. And when I came into radio, I was like, I don't want to be a presenter. I want to be in news because I want to be, And that woman backed me up. Not just in radio, she backed me up in my acting. She backs me up in my life. And I've got a lot of sisters. I've got 11 sisters, obviously big family. But I can confidently and clearly say that if I were to add another woman onto the list of sisters, that girl will be part of it. Because sometimes you meet people in life that are not your family, but that are meant to be part of your destiny to help you shape it. That woman helped me shape not just my destiny, but in my thought. We're no longer working professionally together. I mean, I had a case, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention this, but I will, because of the work that I do. I had a case recently now, a week ago, where there's a female that reached out on Twitter about a gender-based violence case about a man that was hitting her. And because I know the people that I can go to, I was like, hey man, who can I call? Because I need a lawyer, immediately I was like, Oli. Because she's that kind of chick. She's got black women, she's got me, she's got, And I think we need people like that in our corners. So she did play a very integral role. She shaped my thinking. She helped me probably get that Liberty Radio nomination. And you know what? I'm not even doubting if I'm going to get an award. I'm going to probably get an award now if I just get back into radio, because I'm not on radio right now. But if I get back, I know I'll get one, because you know what? My shaping, the shaping of my thinking has been shifted by that woman. And she's a firehouse in the industry. Right now, currently, she's working for government in women issues, and I'm like, I can't even think of a better person to be working in that position, because wow, we need those kind of people. So yeah, I didn't cry. Wow.
Wow.
Thanks.
I thought you were gonna cry because you speak so passionately about her. she really must have been important,
She
because
really
I
is.
picked her out of an interview and I'm like, this woman must be so special.
Again, how did you find that? Because I've never been asked about it before.
I want you
I've
to say something to
never.
her in front
Um,
of the camera.
wow.
Yeah.
Yay. Yay, 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 yay. Okay. Real talk. Wow. Okay. Wow. That's hectic.
You could say it to me.
That's so hectic. Wow. Okay. So I think women always need people to support them, whether or not they overtly say it or whether or not they, they wear it on their sleeve. I have a lot of sisters, as I mentioned, Sikho Sampala in the interview, but I count you as one. It's always so great to get into a space, particularly where women are always fighting each other, to be seen, to be heard, to be recognized. And you came in there as if you were not even afraid to take my job. Or you were not even afraid for me to take your job, which is weird because you're not that much older than me. So I want to say thank you, Koli Matomela. May God and your ancestors, because I know that you believe in that, may God and your ancestors bless you. May they increase you. May they enlarge your knowledge. And may you walk in the confidence that you instilled in me when I was a bright little 21-year-old who, okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's that on that. But thank you for that. I've never done that. I've Thanks. Okay. Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
To give you a moment to breathe there.
Thank you.
Should we move to the next question?
Absolutely, please.
Let me just... Sure. I think I also want a woman like that in my corner. She sounds amazing. And I hope she's doing the same for other little girls who were as bright as you were when you were 21 and wanted to take over the world.
Yeah.
Are you ever going to go back to radio?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a storyteller. I don't just tell stories on television. I tell stories on radio. I tell stories in life. I tell stories. That's what I am. And I do want to go back to radio because I feel like, talk radio, it's shifting. I feel like we need more voices on the platforms, and I feel like I could be one of those voices.
Yeah.
So it is something that I'm passionate about. I do want to go back, and I probably will go back very soon.
Yeah, you should. You have a very gorgeous voice. I could listen to you all
Thank
day.
Thank you.
Let's go to how to ruin Christmas, the wedding. No pagile mugel. Ore ke ya Korea. Ke Korea. China or guy hona go. We are going, pakile, you're like, you know what, I'm so done. And yeah, I'm gonna be a teaching assistant.
Yeah.
In abroad.
Yeah.
And what I say, man, how did this how to ruin Christmas gig come about?
Yo. Hey, I packed my bags, packed my apartment, gave people my furniture, and some, guys, bye, I'm going to China. And January happened. I had already had my contract. I was supposed to start on the 5th of January. I asked for some time until February. Hi, man. Authentication. So, when doors just keep closing, and like I'm getting frustrated because I'm also paying money. It's not like I'm paying money for flights, I'm paying money for authentications, I'm paying money for police clearances, so I need to go. And then I get stuck in the country. Before that, though, I say no to season 2. So I did a show called Rented Family, a comedy with Trevor Kumbi, Mamlinda Sibezo, and a lot of other beautiful actors.
Why did you say no to it?
Because I'm going to China.
Oh.
I packed my bags.
Okay.
Yeah, I was leaving the country. I said I needed a break from acting because acting was no longer giving me what I needed it, or what I needed from it, rather. And they gave the character to Nolly Knowles, who has done an amazing job. You know what I mean? It's very hard to take over a character from someone else that's played it before, and kudos to that. But I watched that process in front of me. I was still in the WhatsApp group when they were shooting Granted Family. Like, I'm busy. Guys, seen eh? And I'm just like, Lord God, I said no to that money. That's where the frustration starts. End up in the country. Fast forward, I spent 8 months in my mom's house. Note, I've never lived with my mom since I was 14.
Sure.
I had never lived with a parent since I was 14. Consciously. Boarding school, I like to do things in my own way. So, Hakari mama, okay, sharp, cool. Go back to mom's house. You know, it's a bit awkward. Thank you, Bird, for the confirmation. It's a bit awkward, you know, life is a bit hard. I spent about 7 to 8 months at home, no income, no pay, and I'm living off this person who's probably frustrated at me as well. Netflix comes through. They're like, audition. Aye, man. And I kept looking at Blood and Water. I was like, you know, God, if I could just get something like Blood and Water, God, you know, I won't be so upset, you know. And I manifested that Netflix in my mind. Already I was like, hey, Blood and Water, and if I could get something like that, but I know it's not my show, there'll be another show for me. Sharp. Ke audition once. Kikene. Self-tape. Didn't meet the director, obviously, because of COVID. Came in second time. When I came in the second time, it was just me and someone else. Very proclaimed. SAFTA, I won't mention the name. SAFTA award-winning female actress. And my agent called me and said, oh, by the way, you're against this chick. She's SAFTA award-winning, but it's cool. Like, you got it. And I was like, yay, see. And when I went in there, I was like, God, I'm going to fight for my life here. Met Mutlatsi Mafatsi. What an amazing man. What
an actor.
What an amazing, like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
What an amazing person
Brilliant.
to play with.
Yeah.
Got into the space and he was like, what are we doing here? We're working. I was like, cool. And from that, auditioned once, then got the call back with Mutlatsi, then got the job. And found myself on the set with amazing people. Trevor Gumbi, Lilian Dube, Mam Nandi Nyembe, Mam Koketso, Mam Clementine. Hey man, it was this pity, you know. And that for me was the reward of 2020.
Sure.
It was How to Ruin Christmas. And it was not going to China, knowing that I stayed so that I could get that. Because I don't think I'd be on Netflix right now had I gone to China. Yeah.
Yeah, it was God's way of saying, I've got a bigger plan. Would you
Painful.
Yeah. Very painful. Would you still go back to China though? Go and teach in China?
Absolutely. Not necessarily teach. I think I'd go to another country. I'm not married. I don't have a child. I don't have a dog or a cat. You know, and I still have an itch to travel. So for me, it's not even going to China. It's do I get my master's in New York? Do I go to Japan? You know, it's a thing, Guti. I feel like as long as we're still living this life and we don't have any attachments to us that could hold us down or that could be compromised by our decisions, let's go and do it. So I would go and leave the country. I don't know if I'd leave and going to go teach in China, but I do think I would leave. I still want to leave. I feel like whatever I felt when I was at that place last year, I haven't fulfilled yet. So if there's a man that's looking for a wife
to pay and
I'm
fund.
joking. Please don't quote me on this. Joking.
And I want to know about the characters that you play rather, and how do they give back to you? Because we always speak about the actor pouring into words, but then the characters that you play, how do they give back to you?
Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna try and be, because I know I can talk for ages. I play an array of characters, and I always make sure that when I play, which is why people can walk into me, and that's cool. I'm good with that. I don't actually want to be seen, to be quite honest. So people will be like, didn't you? And I'm like, yeah, you know. So I make sure that they're different because I want to explore different things. How do they give back to me? First of all, lesbian and the queer category for me with Esh and keeping score. Hey man, what an interesting question. Let me just focus on that actually, not on the rest. When I shot Keeping Score, my birthday is on the 11th of September. My dad passed away on the 12th of September.
Sure.
He passed away from cancer. When I shot Keeping Score, that was the first role, that was in 2016. I shot Keeping Score and I had a storyline where I played a lesbian, but I also had a storyline where my mom had cancer. So, wow. It was the first time I had to encounter that in my life. And it was the first time in Keeping Score, we had an amazing thing where we had monologues. So each character had a moment where in the scene or in the story they had monologues. And I had this whole monologue about my mom having cancer. And just 4 months ago, I just buried my dad from cancer. So how did it give back to me? My God, I started healing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I even said to my mom, I was like, Mudimo gets us actually, because the characters that I play infiltrate in my personal life, where I'm like, shucks, now I'm forced to. Because I'm a mover. And at the time it was happening, my dad was passing away. He passed away. Next week I was in theatre doing a one-woman show. Had a Naledi Award nominated. Shandy's happening in December. January, this is all happening now. Now we're doing radio. Now we're doing this. Now we're doing TV. Now we're getting keeping score. There's no time to deal with that sort of stuff. Because we're moving. You're doing your honors. You have to move. And for me, it was the one moment where the character just said to me, Swankie, you need to sit down and chill. You need to think about how these things, hurt you. So I'll speak on that because that's the biggest moment for me. And that gave back to me because I think I would still be now, 6 years later, 6, 7, however many years later, reeling from that pain had I not encountered that character. So that, the others, I mean,
you just swiftly said, Naledi nominated Shandy's. Like it's something small.
we move.
Were you nominated for a Naledi?
Well, I mean, you know what? Let me tell you,
Go.
I wasn't,
What happened?
but I can safely say that I did that show the week after burying Dad, and then it got called back in December, and we had all the Naledi judges sitting. It was just for them, actually. The show was for them, and they sat. And although it wasn't nominated, my nod in that space was to have them sitting, filling up the 2 front rows, watching me for an hour sweat on that stage. I was like, you know what? Even Kausan, even with the Liberty Radio Award, I could be nominated again. Or I could get a nomination, because that nod is all you need.
Yeah.
All you need are eyes. And I think we miss that in the industry. We want a lot of the attention. We want fame. We want intricate things. All you need is someone to see you. And once you get that nod and you've got those people sitting in those chairs and they're watching you, then you're like, okay, cool. So I take that as my nod.
Okay, that's also fine.
Yeah, I'll take that as my nod.
I want to wrap things up.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you a question that I probably should have asked you in the beginning, but I wanted to keep it to the end. Do you think your surname is prophetic over your life? Because there's words. There's a repetition of words. It's either in writing, it's either in radio, it's either in acting. But I just feel like you are a voice and you keep using words.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is. And I've got people in the industry that call me Mafoko words. Hey, May, wena, words, Mafoko. I'm like, I something I'm doing. But it means something because I use my voice. And then I've got a brother who's also in the industry. His name is Leni. Yeah. Leni ki Leni. And halifeletse ki Leni la Modimo. There's no running away from. So I think a lot of what we it's prophetic.
It is. That's what I thought when I was reading up on you and I was researching you. Thank you so much for coming. You're absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see what you have in store for us. I think the bird can also attest to that. We're all excited to see.
You got that confirmation.
Really appreciated you making time for us. All the best for the future.
Thank you. And thank you so much also for being an amazing host, for having a space that allows me to be as vulnerable as I was. I'm just like sitting here like, oh my God, So thank you for that. And I think speaking prophetically into you, carry that and own that. And even in the work that you do, I can't wait to see you 20 years from now. Because I really feel like God is going to open so many doors where you allow so many people to speak into, themselves and speak into their atmospheres within the vulnerability space that you create. And I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Well, I do hope that you enjoyed the show. I learned so much, guys. And I hope that Swankie sprinkled some black girl magic and reminded you that it is possible for the black girl child. Please do keep the conversation going. It is Tembisa Content TV on Facebook. We are also on Instagram. It is Tembisa_CTV. We are also on Twitter. It is Tembisa_TV. Do not forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel or to our YouTube channel. Whatever it is, please subscribe. Keep watching the shows. Until next time, what the fuck? fuck.
Ah.